I like the power, it's always there,
and
the traction's real controllable, but I don't really have a comparison, you know what I mean?
So after talking to Street Bike Josh about him possibly wanting to get a two-stroke, I talked him into taking out my KTM 300 XCW for a spin or two, however many he wanted to do around the motocross track, so he can kind of get a feel for it. And he was awesome enough to allow me to jump on his 2019 KTM 250 XCF and kind of see what that was all about. And the comparison is a huge difference, obviously, than the 300 XCW. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Leave me a comment and hit that notification bell. That way you can see all the awesome content that makes this 10 West Moto. So one of the very first things I noticed when I hopped on this KTM was how comfortable it actually felt. Now everything is set up for Street Bike Josh and his size and his ride style and everything and his weight. So obviously it's not going to feel as comfortable as it would if it was set up for me and my size and weight. But the overall feel of it, as soon as I hopped on it, was just familiar, which is a great feeling because usually you don't feel familiar on anybody else's bike. Now, besides feeling more comfortable on it than I expected, coming off the lips of these jumps and landing on them, I'm really not pushing it because, like I said, I've said it before, when I'm on somebody else's bike, whether it's 2019 or 96, it doesn't matter. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to end up breaking something on it. So I want to take it easy on it, just kind of get a feel for it. Now, landing these jumps, going off the lips and everything, with the air fork suspension was just amazing. The feeling this front suspension has compared to my XCW is like a night and day thing. My KTM 300 XCW is kind of a rough takeoff and landing compared to this bike with the air forks, because I have springs, and I may try to find a set of air forks to fit on the KTM 300. I'm not sure if I can find a compatible set because it's 2006, but we will see, and that'll be in a later video if I can find them, or I may just have them rebuilt or rebuild them myself. I'm not sure yet. But when it all comes down to it, the suspension on this bike is absolutely amazing. Now I did notice turning on a motocross track was a little more difficult. Four strokes to me feel a lot more bulky, and I can feel the small amount of added weight to them, and it could just be the engine braking kicking in again. I mean, it could be a variable of factors there that's coming into play, but it definitely felt a lot more stiff. And once again, it could just be how Josh has it set up, but it seemed a little more of a fight to get it in and out of these corners than it is the two-stroke that I'm currently on. I did find out that usually when I come in and out of corners, I'll lock the rear wheel up and I'll slide into the corners, and then I'll dump the clutch and I'll throttle out of them and kind of try and shoot out of them as much as I can. And it works great on the 300 XCW, and with the Recluse, it's phenomenal. And And with this bike, is one of the very few four-strokes that I've been on, bigger four-strokes that I've been on, that actually will not shut off while I'm trying to do that, while I lock the rear wheel up, because the momentum of the motor just automatically goes from, you know, however much percentage, 50, 75% down to basically zero in a matter of like a half a second or so. So I was kind of concerned about it shutting off while I'm locking it up coming into the corners, but it didn't happen. And that's another really good aspect of this 2019 250 XCF.
This thing is sweet. I like it.
So, let's do a comparison. So, that motherfucker's got a shit ton of power.
Yeah. So it's not 100% hit, but if you get on it, it'll come at you.
Yeah, it did the first time I got in it, and I was going a little hot at the jump that was in front of me. I got a little scared. Because I was like, holy fuck, I just got this speed quick. Definitely got a shit ton of power.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I guess it's all about 300, which is what? Equivalent to a...
Now, street bike Josh had done a couple laps on my 2006 KTM 300 XCW, and we kind of sat down for a little while and did a lot of comparisons and told some stories about previous bikes that we have ridden on and compared all of them and suspension, and basically just had a decent, well-rounded conversation about the differences and what we can see from each other's bikes.
And it's been the tires really.
So now that we kind of got a feel for what this 2019 KTM 250 XCF is about, and we kind of took it out in the open where we were extremely comfortable riding around on this motocross track. Now it's time to take it through the woods and see what it'll actually do.
I'll take it easy.
I feel the biggest downfall is my lack of clutch work. The Recluse has spoiled me, obviously, and this four-stroke is teaching me that I need to kind of pay a little more attention to my clutch work and how it all comes together. Because honestly, the Recluse is great, but it does make you extremely lazy when you get on a bike that has a stock clutch in it. So you just gotta get back to your roots and figure it out. Now, I gotta tell you guys, this is probably one of the most fun just hop on and go bikes that I've actually ridden without being set up or without me actually going through and trying to figure out what it's about and doing research on it or looking anything up. Just hop on it and take off, kind of like I've done with some of the other bike reviews. This was by far the most comfortable and most fun one of these hop on and ride bikes that I've actually done. So one thing I want to mention about this bike is I feel that if I spent enough time on it and had it set up, had set the sag for my size and weight, and had the front suspension tweaked a little bit, and maybe change tire pressure some, it would probably be an awesome machine to be racing and riding through the woods. And having this experience on this bike is kind of opened my eyes more to, I don't need to stick to just one bike, although I'm going to. I'm not. I'm keeping the 300 and I'm going to race it as much as I possibly can because that's what I'm comfortable on. But if I needed to swap over to a 4-stroke, this more than likely would be the bike that I would jump on without a doubt, in a heartbeat. And even with the way Josh has this one set up, I would jump on it and I would take it out and I would race it, because after riding it through these trails, the short amount of time that I have on it, really working out the little kinks here and there, like stalling like I just did over across that log, is simple stuff to work out. The power delivery is 10 times more smooth than 300 that I'm on currently. It's a lot more tameable and is a lot more manageable instead of just hitting and you kind of got to wrestle with it a little bit. It's not like that at all from my perspective riding this thing. And it, like I said, it would take getting some used to, but overall I feel like if it were something that I just jumped on and focused on over a couple months time, I'd have no problem taking it out to a race and feeling confident that I would place well on it. So I'm going to give a huge thank you to Street Bike Josh. I'll leave his YouTube channel in the description. Make sure you check him out. He's got some awesome stuff. And I'm 10 West Moto. I'll see you on the starting line.
Yeah. Look, there's a log that cuts across the trail. You can either go around it or go over it. As soon as I popped the front wheel over it, it just shut off. I was like, oh. It is probably because it's got an actual clutch on it. Yeah. I can see.
Flameouts are part of it.
I can see how you get arm pump with this though, because my arms are hurting. So yeah.
And then of course you could twist them. And looking at them, they look like they're twisted forward. So
I try and stick them back just a little bit.
That's a good idea.
It'll make a huge difference. Whether it's good or bad, you'll be able to tell.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I might have to try that. The bike sounds good then.
Yeah.
I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they don't sound the same when you're on them.
That thing's a lot of fun, man. I like it.
I think the suspension sets it